WCBI News at 10 starts now.
Thank you for joining us tonight. As the coronavirus continues to spread all across the country, President Trump took to television to lay out what's being done and some possible future steps. CBS's Ben Tracy has more from Washington.
This is something, it's an invisible enemy.
A more somber President Trump said the coronavirus could last through July or August and cause a recession.
We've made the decision to further toughen the guidelines and blunt the infection now. We'd much rather be ahead of the curve than behind it, and that's what we are.
The new CDC guidelines say for the next 15 days, all Americans should stay home from work and school, avoid social gatherings of more than 10 people, and eating and drinking at bars, restaurants, and food courts. But these are recommendations, not requirements. Are you telling governors in those states then to close all their restaurants?
Well, we haven't said that yet.
Why
We're
not?
recommending, but we're recommending
work.
things. No, we haven't gone to that step yet. That could happen, but we haven't gone there yet.
New York Governor Andrew Cuomo says the White House needs to be more clear.
This is a national problem, and we need federal leadership.
On a call with the nation's governors today, President Trump told them to find critical supplies of respirators and masks on their own because federal help may be too slow. The president has said that he takes no responsibility for the slow rollout of testing kits around the country, but asked to rate his handling of this crisis, the president gave himself a 10. Ben Tracy, CBS News, the White House.
Governor Tate Reeves is asking the public not to panic, but also don't underreact to the coronavirus. As of now, the state health officer is not recommending restaurants and bars shut down, but some cities and individual restaurants are making that call. Now, the big question is still testing.
Avoid large gatherings, 10 or more, and wash your hands. Practice good hygiene. I will tell you that we have all the tests that we need at this time, but across the country, we still have to prioritize. Testing priority must go to healthcare workers, to our first responders, and to those that are vulnerable to the virus with symptoms.
Only people who need testing are sick people. There's no benefit to, there's no identified benefit of just screening people who are asymptomatic. If you screen somebody who's asymptomatic, they might be symptomatic tomorrow, even if they're negative today. So it could be very misleading.
The governor is also activating the National Guard. The hope is that some fast-track testing locations may soon become available here in the state. The National Guard would be used to help at those locations. There's currently no mobile testing option. Mayor Jason Shelton declares a state of emergency in Tupelo as the region reports its first case of the coronavirus. City leaders approved the mayor's emergency declaration during a meeting this afternoon at City Hall. That declaration ensures department heads in the city have resources to respond in an emergency, and it also allows the city to be reimbursed by both MEMA and FEMA in the future. Mayor Shelton says the response to the pandemic is changing quickly as more information is being gathered.
Saw a wise person post to be a barrier, not a carrier, to be part of the solution, because what we're looking at is a situation where we don't want our healthcare system to be overloaded. The COVID-19 will come to Tupelo. There is no doubt in my mind. We will have a confirmed case here. We'll have confirmed cases in Lee County. We'll have more confirmed cases in the state of Mississippi. What we have to make sure that we do as a society is not overload our healthcare workers.
The mayor encourages people to follow most recent CDC guidelines, including limiting gatherings to no more than 10 people, staying home if you can, and washing hands frequently. Well, schools in Lee County, just like most in the area, are closed for the week, and that has some parents concerned about feeding their children meals they would normally get while at school. As our Ali Martin reports, school administrators and staff have asked the community to help make sure no child goes hungry while schools are closed.
As students began another week off from school, staff at Plantersville Middle School were working hard, sorting bags of food. The blessing bags are provided by East Main Church of Christ and the Shannon Beta Club. The bags are normally given to students whose families may not have enough food at home on weekends and holidays, and now during unexpected school shutdowns.
That's what people in North Mississippi do. You know, when there's a need, everyone reaches out, everyone teams up, and they take care of the needs. You know, it's not one district versus another district, one church versus another church, one community versus another community. Everybody is in this together.
Of course, it's important to feed each student and make sure they have enough food during this unexpected break, but it's just as crucial to make sure that the young people are studying. So each blessing bag will also have a library book.
If parents and friends and fellow educators that are near students or just around children, period, this is actually an opportunity to educate the students on what's going on. It's actually a good lesson about the government and about the different things, the plagues, the viruses, the diseases that can come into our cities, our homes, our communities, our states. And I think it's a good lesson that we could actually start there with educating the kids on that and just stimulating their minds and getting them to think about things. You never know what something like this could actually trigger in a child's mind to want to study.
Teachers and staff plan on delivering more blessing bags and books later this week. In Plantersville, Allie Martin, WCBI News.
Aberdeen is the latest district to add lunch options for students. Beginning tomorrow, they'll be serving bag lunches at Aberdeen High School. From 10:30 a.m. until noon, you can go up to the awning at the entrance by the gym, and kitchen personnel will bring the food out to your car. With class not in session, the Columbus Municipal School District is taking a unique approach to keeping their students busy during this time off. The school district has developed an academic contingency plan to assist students during school closures. Online courses for students will be available in addition to academic packets. Now, those academic packets, they'll be available to students starting tomorrow during feeding times at each school location. Superintendent Dr. Cherie Labat says this approach is a good way to make sure every student continues to learn during this time off.
Preparing packets for those students that don't have internet access. We are working on some infrastructure at the building level of expanding some wiring so that if parents need to pull up, I hate to say it, like a drive-through to get Wi-Fi in order to get to some of the online resources that we prepared, that'll be available.
Dr. Labat also says all staff members have been notified to sanitize at all times to avoid any spread of the virus at the schools.
Some showers around our region today, a lot of those in the weakening stage. This first batch that has been moving through North Mississippi really falling apart over the last hour. Now we have some budding showers here in and around the Starkville area. You can see some of this just to the northeast of downtown Starkville, and also in the Columbus region we have some showers here north of downtown. So a few blips out there, not a lot. 64 degrees in Columbus right now with some rain on the northern side of the city. So as we go throughout the course of the night, temperatures will bottom out into the 50s. We may see a few showers around in the morning hours, but for your St. Patrick's Day, generally speaking, a mix of clouds and sunshine, and temperatures most likely warming in the 70s. Your full forecast in just a few minutes.
One of the coronavirus's biggest victims could be the nation's economy. Get this, the Dow Jones plummeted 13% today as fears deepened that the epidemic will throw the global economy into recession. It was the market's worst drop in 3 decades. CBS's Wendy Gillette has more.
The Dow Jones plunged further Monday, closing down almost 3,000 points as the economic fallout from the coronavirus pandemic continues to mount. President Trump says the economy may be heading toward a recession.
Once this goes away, once it goes through and we're done with it, I think you're going to see a tremendous surge.
Stocks tanked quickly after the opening bell, triggering another circuit breaker, the third trading halt over the last 6 days. The sell-off came despite the Federal Reserve's announcement Sunday it was slashing interest rates by a full percentage point to near zero.
They did it with a good motive, but the other narrative to that story is that, oh my God, if we're lowering it, if we're shooting every bullet out of the chamber, leaving us at zero, is there worse economic news on the horizon than we think?
One of the hardest hit sectors is travel. An airline trade group warns cancellations are so bad, without government assistance, major U.S. carriers could run out of money by the end of June. The White House says it's looking to do something for the airlines.
We're going to back the airlines 100%. It's not their fault.
Restaurants are also feeling the pain as more communities ban dine-in customers to slow the spread of the virus. The New York Stock Exchange is not immune to the new reality. Healthcare workers checked traders' temperatures before they were allowed on the floor Monday. Wendy Gillette, CBS News, New York.
President Trump held a video teleconference with the G7 leaders this morning to discuss ways to work together to respond to the health crisis and the economic impact. The White House leaders agreed to cooperate on research and use all monetary measures to restore economic growth. 2 large events in Monroe County are being postponed due to the coronavirus. The Amory Railroad Festival announced today that it will postpone the event. At this time, postponement dates are not being discussed, but future plans are not set in stone. Organizers are still exploring options. Meanwhile, the Aberdeen Pilgrimage has postponed its events. It was scheduled for April 3rd through April 5th. The Boy Scout Breakfast will continue as a carry-out event only. And now turning our attention over to weather. Keith, who was nominated for tonight's forecast?
We've got an angry cat. And I think this cat right here, Manny the cat, is basically summing up a lot of attitudes right now, just the stress level and all this stuff happening in the world right now. But tomorrow, we'll have a few showers around, perhaps in the morning. We will have a decent day for us here. So Manny, chill out, and we'll have a decent day. Temperatures in the 70s here. We'll show you that warmer 7-day forecast after the break.
Your WCBI First Alert AccuWeather forecast with Chief Meteorologist Keith Gibson.
Spring is fast approaching, and we actually get into spring once we get to Thursday evening. And look at these temperatures. We get into the 70s tomorrow. For Wednesday, 81, 82 on Thursday afternoon with limited rain chances here. As we get into Friday, we'll have a better chance for some rain to return around to our region. Vernon at Durham, Louisville, Mississippi, Columbus, and Tupelo, our camera network here shows the passing clouds. A little bit of sunshine thrown into the mix today, and we got into the 70s across the southern areas. Those of you up north, Tupelo, closer to the Tennessee border, more in the way of clouds and 60s, and just a few showers here in the Golden Triangle area, but more clouds than anything else here. And really not a lot of moisture potential for your Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. This is our projection here, just one model, but it's doing a decent job here. Limited amounts of moisture through Thursday. As we get into Friday with this next front that will come on in here, we may see a heavier burst of rain and some storms as we close out this week. Tonight down into the middle 50s here, a few showers still around. A little bit cooler in the North Corinth, only at 51, so about where we are right now. Upper 50s farther south. And for tomorrow, your St. Patrick's Day here, 74 in Columbus and 76 in Louisville, pushing 80 in Philadelphia. A mix of clouds and sunshine. Can roll out a few showers here. Upper 60s in Corinth and Boonville, 70 in Pontotoc, 72 in Fulton and Tupelo. And for you in the West Alabama as well, low to mid 70s across the board here. Again, a chance for a passing shower or two. It can be as warm as 88, as cold as 26 on St. Patrick's Day in Columbus. That's where we've been in the past. Over 2 inches of rain back in 1925. Much the same story in Tupelo. It's been as warm as 83 in 2012. March 2012, one of the warmest March periods on record here. Boy, that was extremely warm. Everything was just budding early in that particular spring. And right now we have things trending warm over the next couple of days here, and not really a lot of organized weather here. No strong or severe storms out there this evening. We do have some severe weather potential in Texas tomorrow, and also in Texas and Oklahoma on Wednesday. And considering things here in the middle of March, we can always get some strong storms around here, but in this time of year, but we don't really expect a lot of potential here. I think the best chance will actually be as we get into your Friday right here as far as heavy rain is concerned, or at least a dose of heavier rain. The strong storm potential Quinton on Friday still doesn't look that great, so I think really over the next 7 days we have a lot of rain chances there. It doesn't look like a lot of active weather, even though we will have temperatures that will go from the 70s and 80s to the 60s. And usually if that happens, we may get some strong storms. This may not be one of those cases.
I'm loving this warmer weather, Keith. The weather keeps getting warmer and warmer. And so I've been outside all weekend taking advantage of it.
The next thing you know, you're going to be sweating to death here when it's 100 degrees and high humidity.
Well, I was sweating today. I accidentally had my coat on when I came to work.
Oh, yeah. That will do it.
Quickly learned my lesson. We look at some of the medical facts behind the coronavirus when we come back. Stay with us.
You're watching WCBI News at 10 with Quentin Smith.
Welcome back. Coronavirus isn't just in the news, it is the news. In tonight's Health Talk with Baptist, we find out more about the facts behind the disease.
Hi, I'm Dr. Lee Richardson, and I'm part of the emergency room team at Baptist Memorial Hospital, Golden Triangle. Tonight, I want to talk to you about the coronavirus, also known as COVID-19. Coronaviruses are a large family of viruses that can cause several different types of respiratory illnesses, including the most recent virus known as COVID-19. It is believed that this particular strain of the virus was first passed from animals to human in China in December of 2019. Diagnosis is difficult because it shares several symptoms with the flu, including fever, fatigue, cough, and shortness of breath. Some cases are mild, such as the common cold, while others are more likely to lead to pneumonia. If you have mild to moderate symptoms and have been exposed to the virus, call your doctor or local hospital emergency room first. Please do not go to a doctor's office or hospital emergency room for testing unless you have been instructed to do so by a provider. If you have more symptoms and need to go to the hospital, please call the facility first and report symptoms, recent travel, and possible exposure before going there. You do not want to risk exposing patients or caregivers. If your symptoms are considered mild, staying home is your best option. Join us next time for Health Talk with Baptist, when we will discuss how COVID-19 is spread and how you can avoid contracting the disease.
Mail your topic suggestions to healthtalk@wcbi.com. Health Talk has been brought to you by Baptist Memorial Hospital, Golden Triangle.
The future of high school sports in the spring now becomes uncertain. The latest on another full day of postponements coming up next in sports.
Here's sports with Tom Ebel.
Mississippi high school sports becomes the latest to join the long list of postponed or canceled athletics in our area. The MHSAA making a decision Monday to suspend all athletic activity through March 29th and until further notice. In a press release, the MHSAA stating that each sports championship event is being reviewed and possible action could come in terms of new dates and venue sites. The suspensions include fine arts activities as well as practices. Mississippi high school coaches around our area say it's a difficult time to lead their program.
You got so many kids that have given everything they could to the program, and for that to even be cut short, even if we were to pick back up, it's heartbreaking for those guys because you can't recreate that. You can't make it up.
It stinks for the kids, especially your seniors, because, I mean, there's no extra year of eligibility in high school sports. The one senior we have this year, Jasmine Rogers, man, one of the best kids you'll ever meet, this is it for her. And we had a really good team. Actually, this is probably one of the best teams I've had since I've been here. I thought we had a good chance, you know, to make a run. So I'm hoping they'll limit this thing to a couple of weeks at least or something.
It's tough for us. You know, obviously, I think every coach will tell you this. We really don't know what to do. All we're doing is sitting and waiting like everybody else, and we can't practice. We can't play. I'm not at work. It's just a complete waiting game. And so, you know, other than that, we don't really know what to do. That's the biggest thing. I wish we had a plan. If I knew we were going to play in a month, and I'll tell our guys, hey, practice will start in 2 weeks, and we'll get ready. But at this point in time, we just don't know. And so I guess just like you guys, all we can do is sit and wait.
The NJCAA officially cancels all spring athletics for the 2020 season, as well as the upcoming basketball championships. The original plan set last week was for decision makers to reassess the future of JUCO athletics on April 3rd. As reported last week, no spring student athletes will be charged a year of eligibility. The NJCAA will also look into expanding allowable letters of intent for spring athletics over the next 2 years. It's not all bad. The SEC still in waiting game, still waiting to see what the future of spring athletics will be, but college baseball releasing their players of the week for this past week. Hopefully it's not the last one. Ole Miss's Tyler Keenan named player of the week for batting .714 with 3 home runs and 9 RBIs against Louisiana Monroe last week. Mississippi State closer Spencer Price named Pitcher of the Week for his perfect innings in 2 appearances against number 3 Texas Tech last week. And Ole Miss's Hayden Dunhurst named co-freshman of the week, batting 4 of 5 with his first career multi-home run game last Wednesday against the Warhawks. The SEC has suspended athletics until at least April 15th. The NFL officially back in the news. A pair of former Bulldogs staying right where they're at for now. Houston native Chris Jones receiving the franchise tag from the Kansas City Chiefs, and Dak Prescott also receiving the franchise tag from the Dallas Cowboys. Free agency in the NFL is set to begin on March 18th. That's it for sports. Have a fantastic rest of your night. We'll be back after the break.
All right, we have some warm temperatures coming our way. 70s tomorrow, 80s Wednesday and Thursday. Limited rain chances here. Quentin, Friday, the best opportunity. And then we'll cool things down a little bit. But all things considered, not too bad here.
You say cool things down, Keith. Let's not get that far here. Let's just enjoy this warm weather right now while we got it. Did you get out and enjoy the warm weather this weekend?
I've been trying to maximize my time outdoors. It's pretty good to get out there.
In the yard work?
A little bit.
Okay.
Just a little bit. Not much, but a little bit.
We'll take it. Have a good night, everyone.